you're eating moo gai pan from a fancy Chinese restaurant or fried rice from a hole in the wall, you're most certain to receive the staple that unifies all Chinese dining experiences, the fortune cookie. This vanilla, thinly made, perfectly folded cookie is the standard dessert for Chinese meals. However, the treat is not necessarily in the cookie itself. I find the treat to be in a little piece of paper secretly slipped inside. Today, this paper may contain a few different things. It may contain a Chinese word lesson, such as beijia, which means wink. It may also contain lucky numbers. And lest you doubt how lucky these numbers are, let me remind you of the 2005 Powerball drawing. In that drawing, there was one ultimate jackpot winner. However, there were a record 110 second place drawings. Most of those finding their numbers from the fortune cookie. The fortune cookie picked 5 out of the 6 and missed the Powerball by just 2 digits. And for those 110 people, that's just the way the fortune cookie crumbles. Of course, a fortune cookie is going to contain a fortune, which of course may be a prophecy, but it may also just be a wise saying, perhaps an observation. We apparently are not satisfied that our dessert gives us a message. Somehow we had to sex up the fortune cookie by playing the in-bed game. Certainly you've played this, right? Where you add in bed to the end of any fortune. It always works, and it's always hilarious. For example, let me just read this one. You will be called upon to help a friend in trouble. In bed. Or, you have the ability to be very persuasive. In bed. It's always funny. I've actually given you each a fortune cookie in order that you may go home and play this game yourself. So there are a lot of people playing this, apparently, because there are over 3 billion fortune cookies made each year. That's enough for the entire population of Kansas City to eat a fortune cookie every single day for the next 17 years. That's a lot of cookies. That means somebody is making a fortune off of fortune cookies. For many years, that somebody was C.S. Wong. He's the owner of the Wonton Food Company out of Brooklyn, New York. Wonton Foods is the major manufacturer of fortune cookies, producing 4.5 million cookies every day. Now this leaves you wondering, if the fortune cookie was made in Brooklyn, New York, where did the fortune cookie come from? Well, I remember when I first learned that people in China do not eat fortune cookies. I was flabbergasted. It was as if though somebody had demolished my great wall of Chinese expectations. But if they weren't from China, where are they from? Well, many people have pinned their origin back to California in the early 20th century. There are 3 people who claim to be the father of the fortune cookie from that time, one of them being David Jung. David Jung is the owner of the Hong Kong Noodle Factory in Los Angeles. He claims that he came up with the cookie when he saw a homeless population outside of his restaurant. What he wanted to do was to create a treat for them and stuff a Bible verse inside. He then passed it out and gave it to the poor. Now I find this to be a fairly inefficient way to feed one's stomach or one's soul, yet that's what he claimed he did in 1918. Yet another possible founding father was Makoto Hagiwara. He was the lead architect for the Japanese tea gardens in Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. He claims that 15 years prior, in 1903, he was giving out the cookies in his Japanese tea garden. Perhaps another founding father would be Saiji Kito. Saiji Kito is the owner of the Fugutsu Do Bakery in Los Angeles. He also claims to be the founding father and producing fortune cookies in both Los Angeles and in San Francisco. So it could be Jung, it could be Hagiwara, it could be Saiji Kito. However, we've come to find that it's probably not any of the 3. In the late 1990s, Nakamachi, who is a Japanese researcher, was in Kyoto, Japan, and outside of a shrine, she went to these different bakeries, and guess what she found? Fortune cookies. Fortune cookies filled with fortunes similar to those that you would buy in the shrine in the city. Now, she theorized that fortune cookies actually had their origin in Japan. This was further proven when there was a book found from Japan from the year 1878. In this book, there was a picture of a Japanese baker's apprentice baking fortune cookies using the same grills that were used in the early 20th century in California. It seems as if, though Nakamachi was correct, that fortune cookies came from Japan and came over with Japanese immigrants. Now, this makes you wonder, if they're from Japan, why don't we eat them with our sushi rather than our lo mein? Well, the truth behind that lies in a very dark part of American history, specifically starting with December 7, 1941, the day that Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. It was following this day that many Japanese Americans were put into internment camps in California. They were concentrated together during the remainder of the war. Once the war was over, they were released, and these bakers had to put their lives back together, finding ways to earn a living. At the time, most Americans were very averse to buying Japanese products. So these Japanese bakers then sold them to Chinese bakeries and restaurants. When the soldiers came back from the war, coming through California, they experienced the cookie and took them back to their home state. That's when the big fortune cookie boom in the Chinese restaurants just took off. Today, I hope I've left you with a little bit of appreciation for the fortune cookie and where it came from. But most of all, I wanted to leave you today with these final words. Believe in yourself, and so will others. In bed.